freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 231 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearms.com, your nationwide hometown gun shop. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is gun therapy. Now, we have two guests today. We have Shakey Dave Smith, the Parkinson shooter, and his fiancee, Amy Dillon, a U.S. Marine firearms instructor and writer. Well, we'll start with Dave. He is a professional shooter sponsored by F1 Firearms, STI, and Laser Shot. He competes in 3-gun and rifle competitions around the country and internationally.
What's unique about Dave is that he does all of this while having Parkinson's disease. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 10 years ago. And although Parkinson's altered Dave's lifestyle in many ways, one thing it did not take away was his passion and ability to shoot guns. And he started shooting guns on a daily basis as his form of therapy, gun therapy. Doctors have confirmed that raising the dopamine levels through gun therapy, which he lacks due to Parkinson's, has been a key in his journey to aid in recovery. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is so exciting for us. Like I said off air, I have two world-class competitive shooters on the show at the same time.
And they're getting married.
They're fiancés. I love it.
So when you guys fight, you can say, we're just going to the range and settle this right now, right? If you ever fight. I mean, 35 years we've never fought, so you probably won't. But just in case, you could just settle it at the range.
If
right?
it ever happens to come up.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, let's just dive right into these questions. We already know that guns save lives, but we don't often think about guns as medical devices and medicinal pathways to healing. Talk to us about your journey and how you're pushing Parkinson's disease back out of your life, Dave.
Well, it started, with the Parkinson's. I was a normal, I guess, alpha male type, just working hard and making money and doing everything I do. But found a twitch in my finger. It spread throughout my body, everything tip to tip, head to toe, started shaking. And within a year, they thought I had some other catastrophic illness. I thought I was dying. But I was bedridden and wheelchair, and then started shooting as a form of therapy. It was really the only thing I had left that I could really function and do, and it would make me better. I saw a significant difference, and so I just started shooting every day. And from there, sponsored and competitions all over, and just really cemented the pathways that I had lost. I either engaged, bridged the gaps that were not there with the dopamine, or formed new pathways or whatever. But now I'm a whole lot better shooting every day and doing gun therapy, just hanging out with people like you. So
I love it. Well, lucky us for sure. But I mean, what a completely life-altering, you thought life-ending situation. And then to find out that the time you spent on the range just doing your hobby, enjoying your hobby of shooting, that's actually the thing that's prolonging your life and improving your health. Like, how did that, did it come to you right away that you realized, or was it kind of a slow dawning on you?
You know, I really, I was in such bad shape. I was just, I was listening to doctors, and I was listening to everybody give me advice. And the one thing that I could do, I had a laser trainer that would, shoot in the, like shoot the target on the wall. And I was kind of using that to maybe time my medicines. And, if I was real shaky, then I needed a pill. If I was hitting the 3 or 4 ring, I would need a pill. And, I was doing real well hitting bullseyes, I wouldn't need any medicine. But there again, I did not shake when I had the gun in my hand. So that was where it all came from. So started going to the ranges and then shooting competitions, and then, going 7 days a week, and, hundreds of thousands of rounds a year. And that's when it all, just slowly came together after about 2 or 3 years. So
That's an amazing, but you threw me off. You said hundreds of thousands of rounds a year. Where do you get ammo?
in the pandemic, it's very tough. I'm telling you, it's right now we've had this setback with trying to find ammo is the a major problem with everybody, I guess. For someone that shot, I shot 2 years with 120,000 rounds a year, about what I shot, and then this year it's just dropped off dramatically. And like everybody else, I've got to get creative on how I find it. Not telling anybody where I do find it, but
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
I mean, you could tell us off air. We wouldn't hate that, but don't. Yeah.
So, Dave, were you a shooter all your life, or when did you start shooting?
yeah, I've been shooting all my life, but it's just been real like I now it's just to save my life, and
Right.
it's that mentality. That's the focus. That's how I have to treat it. And whether there's a COVID thing going on or not, I've got a bigger problem that I've got to solve. So
Right.
cure Parkinson's, and that's the focus now. So
Do you get to claim your firearms and your ammunition on your insurance because they are medical devices?
we are working on that. So
Love it.
I claim them on for my job as a firearms instructor, so that so you can do that for any instructors out there if you're not doing that.
Could you imagine how many guns you guys are going to own once you get married? I mean, with you both liking guns.
We started taking an inventory, and you should see us when we're traveling together. It's funny.
I can only imagine. I mean, where I have luggage for clothes, you probably have like a duffel bag for clothes, and then like, luggage for your,
yes.
your firearms. So Amy, you've entered the picture here. So Dave was diagnosed 10 years ago with Parkinson's and just kind of started that journey. And then you guys met how long ago? And you are now part of that journey.
Yeah, so Dave and I met over a year ago. We actually met through the DC project, Cheryl, because we met at the DC project team match, and we quickly bonded. And it's been such a journey, I have to say. But having such two independent people that travel and have such busy lifestyles and trying to merge that, it's been really quite a journey. But it's I guess I'm like, sorry, I'm getting flustered thinking about everything we've been through. We're trying to merge. I'm trying to deal not only with gun therapy, but just in how Parkinson's disease, and this is something that Dave and I have talked very openly about, how it affects, my life as well, and our life and our future that we are planning for together. And what a great thing about being in a relationship with Dave is we have the same passions, we have the same lifestyles and the same mindset. And so we just kind of, even when things happen like this year, we launched Gun Therapy, the nonprofit, and we were supposed to be on a tour, and we've had to shift that entirely because of everything that's happened this year. But we're a team, and we're making it through, and we're doing what we need to do to make sure that everything we want to happen happens. And on top of that, still trying to plan a marriage or plan a wedding. So it's been crazy.
That part's on her too.
Yeah.
So what shooting
Well, that's
range?
smart of you, Dave, to delegate that and
Right.
just stay out of that.
He's a smart man. He's smart. So what shooting range are you guys going to get married at?
I've already shot that at her, and suggested it, but honestly, we really just haven't got that far. We've got everything shifted when the pandemic happened, and so now it's like we were going to have a huge wedding, and now it's the venues, and everybody has shifted their focus a little bit, so kind of put everything on hold.
I could just see it now. First of all, instead of cutting the cake, you're going to shoot the cake. And second, can you imagine the guest list, the gift list or gift registry is going to be at the local gun shops.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's a
AC
great
Firearms
idea.
will have to get in on that action.
Colt Pythons and STI automatics, and the list can go on and on.
Yeah.
But everyone will want to come to our wedding, because as wedding favors, we're going to have, how they have the little bags of candy? We're going to have bags of ammo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, duh,
Nope.
right?
Nobody's going to be chunking that rice. Nobody's going to be.
And if they do, we'll be down there picking up brass.
Yeah.
We'll be like bringing our little scoops. So, Amy, seriously, what a crazy and amazing year for you personally. We're sitting in the studio on Monday, July 20th of 2020. COVID is still very much a part of our world and our lives. And just before all of this, I think you had already met Dave, and maybe you guys had already started your relationship, but you lost your dad this year. I mean,
Yeah.
what a crazy year for you.
And thank you for bringing that up, because anytime I can talk about my dad, it's just, it's such an honor for me. And it's been hard, and I have to say, dealing with that through this past year has been one of the things I've had to go through. And Dave's been a rock for me, and he lost his dad 7 years ago, so he understands my grief process, and it kind of brings us together, because he's such a strong person for me that he lifts me up when I need it, even when I think I don't need it. So,
well, and like 2 years ago, your house flooded. What?
Yes.
I forget which storm that was.
She probably shot the water tank. No.
No.
I've had a pretty some pretty unfortunate events the last few years, and it has impacted a lot of what I had going on at the time. I lost my house for a few years. Lost my dad, and dealing with his sickness, eventually leading to his death. And there's been some other personal things, all in the mix of that. So it's been a rough couple of years, but I stay positive, and I keep going, and I know that no matter what life throws at me, I don't look at it as things as setbacks. I know they're setups for bigger and better things, and that's been proven over the last few years. And I know my dad's proud of me, and I'm doing everything I can to honor him. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Amy, were you a shooter for a long time too?
I only started shooting in the military. So I was 18 years old, and that was the first time I picked up an AR-15, AR-15 platform, and used that. But I had been around guns. My dad was a collector and a huge, liked guns and liked shooting, but I would just never really considered it. And growing up in California, it was never a common form of recreational recreational use. So I never really thought about guns. Not that I didn't like them, I just never put a thought to it. So it wasn't until the military, and then after getting out of the military was when I became a firearms instructor when I was active duty. And then when I got out, I ended my active duty, I made that a career. So.
Nice.
That's very cool. Now together you guys have started this nonprofit. It's called, and the website, I went to it today and put my email address in, guntherapy.org. So talk to us about what the purpose for that is and what your mission and your dream for that is.
Well, gun therapy for me has been such a life-changing thing. I've really wanted to, change a lot of other people, the mindset, between red flag laws and the Democrats and, different people trying to take away our rights. And it's really the right for me and others to, to defend ourselves from Parkinson's or whatever comes in play. And I've defended my life, so I want everybody else that needs this wouldn't have the thought process to, the courage maybe or whatever to step out and say, hey, I want to handle a firearm, do this gun therapy thing. I would like for everybody to do it. And this is, we're going to hopefully get a study. I've tried so many times to get this study kind of launched with academia, but it's really hard to get them to accept the gun therapy.
Because it's a gun.
Yeah. And so we're just going to do the study ourselves. And
so when Dave and I met, and I was learning about Parkinson's and how it affected him and how his life has changed because of it, one thing that stood out to me was a lot of people think that Parkinson's disease is a disease that makes someone shake, and it's not actually that. That's just a side effect. And one thing that stuck out to me was it's a neurological disease that is a lack of dopamine in Dave's brain that doesn't allow his mind to tell his body what to do. And so that kind of struck a nerve with me, and we talked about it. And one interesting thing about Parkinson's disease is that, how you go on the range and you shoot, and it's just, there's just this feel good, you feel empowered, you feel just good when you go shoot, you have, and one thing with Dave is that it's because he has this effect that he, when he gets that dopamine rush in his brain from shooting, let's say, he completely steadies out. And if you haven't seen Dave shoot, I mean, it's remarkable how, and even right now he's starting to shake and stuff, but when he puts a gun in his hand and he goes and shoots, he completely steadies and completely, you can just see whatever's happening in his brain when he's doing those motor skills that he needs to fire the gun safely and effectively. It shows on him. And so when we were talking about it and talking about when we really had this idea to actually form, because he says he's coined the term gun therapy, but what made it a term that he used to let's make it a nonprofit and see what it can do for other people is the fact that we want to take what he's learned through his form of therapy and see how it can help other people who also may be suffering from other neurological diseases or anything that affects a person's mood or the inability to or ability to do things.
So it's amazing, and it works, and so there's something there. If you could figure out all of what it is to help other people, because it's like, so first he loves to shoot. It does something to his brain body, you get excited and you're shooting, and then to be able to concentrate, you overpower your brain is what you're doing, right?
Right. And he's done, do you mind if you want to talk about it?
Right.
Well, the clinical studies he's done before, and a lot of people that deal with Parkinson's, they've heard of a program called Boxing for Parkinson's, and it's other forms of therapy that they use for it. And he's participated. He was telling me all these studies that he's done where they they dance, they box, they bike, they do all these things. And so why not do that for, shooting a gun or range therapy? And so we want to eventually get a clinical study done or endorsed, which we already have the endorsement of several doctors we've talked to about this. And so going out and getting the data set ourselves and then presenting it to a medical university that will actually say, yes, this actually helps. And we've put the neurological test to work, and we can actually see that there is something happening in the brain when a person shoots a gun in this form of therapy that is actually medically, accredited.
Right. And it works. I mean, anybody has to do is watch a video and they'll see. So I'm surprised that they haven't, jumped on this. This is an opportunity for some doctors to do some good, to figure this out. Right?
And it's really weird. When I first started getting into the competitive side of things, and I walk into a range or anywhere, they are just, I've got the worst shakes, the worst balance, the worst everything as far as Parkinson's. I've got plenty of people that I've encountered with Parkinson's. I've got the worst, in my mind, the worst Parkinson's case out there. And the fact that, I can shoot a 5-inch target at 100 yards with a pistol consistently, there's the proof right there.
Right.
And a lot of people want to say it's a fluke or something, but what I'm trying to find is another group of people that will go out and do it and prove that it's not. It's one thing for me to do it, but it's a whole nother thing if I get, I reach out and I get a lot of other people, which I've encountered that, a lot of people are doing it. So that's what I'm after is, the proof with everybody else. It's not about me. It's about everybody else getting involved and just showing what it does. Natural. They want to give you a pill and call it a fix. And, the pill, Parkinson's pills actually make the condition, if you take a part of the side effect from the medicine is if you have too much or you have too little, there's involuntary movement. Same as if you don't take the medicine. So
yeah, that's helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, you said you
make you have involuntary movement. So
right. Well, Dave, you said that some people say it must be a fluke. It could be a fluke. There's absolutely no way. If it happened one time, maybe so. But you can't be a professional shooter and it be a fluke. It's not. And you just somebody needs to open their eyes and say, shooting's no different than the boxing or whatever else that you guys had talked about. It's getting the person that's with the Parkinson's involved with things that they love, get them to focus on things that they're excited about. I think that has something to do with it. I think you're onto something there.
Look, ever since we started this, I started 7 days a week shooting. The mind, if you do something 7 days a week, as much as you can, and work hard at it, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter if you have Parkinson's or what. Shooting is everything that Parkinson's is. The degenerative part of it is taking away cognitive balance, the steadiness, all the fine motor skills that it takes to be safe and make a shot. That therapy. It's working every single part of the physical to the mental to everything that Parkinson's is taking away. And for that's the focus that I'm trying. You don't have to go out. I don't even keep score when I'm in a match. I don't even look where I place or anything. But I don't care who I beat or who I don't beat, But it's just the fact that I get out there in a stressful environment. Somebody said the other day they wanted to do 3-gun. I'm like, 3-gun is 3 times the problem. 3 times of everything go wrong will go wrong, and if you fall with 3 guns and not just one, it's a whole host of other things, right? but you just get out there and do it, and it's a stressful it puts that stress on the mind to a 10th degree. And that's what people need, That's
Right.
the thing that Parkinson's people need in their life. And when I did that 7 days a week, it opened up a whole vast, I think a whole vast part of my brain that I hadn't engaged with, or it was, repairing it or whatever. I could see the difference and feel the difference.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's truly incredible. And to the listeners out there and the people watching us on YouTube and Gunstreamer and OpsLens, if you just take some time and go through Dave's ParkinsonShooter Instagram page, there's one you posted recently with a little tiny coffee cup, right? And you're struggling with your, with the coffee cup because you're having the tremors. And you said, and then you splice into from there out on the range, and you can't even believe it's the same person because you are shooting down range. And I don't know if that's the one that you're shooting at a little playing card or if it was another video, because once I get on there, I can't get off. I have to watch everything.
Yeah, so that was a 25-yard shot that was at a playing card. And so the red dot, I see better far off. So the emblem on the card, I have to shoot because the red dot takes the whole, blots out the whole target. I point down and I'm like, bottom right, it's just going to barely touch it. And so I just move it just off and I can see the emblem in the card and try to make that precision shot. So that one, and the coffee cup was from the World Rifle Match in Sweden. So when we went to Sweden.
Oh, by the way, they just traveled off to Sweden to, be competitive shooters. No big deal. It was a Tuesday.
Sprang my trigger finger the night before the World Rifle Match. True story.
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, so is there a way, are you finding that there's a way, can you trick your mind? Like as you're sitting in the living room, whatever, can you kind of like go into a meditative state and think like, okay, I'm going to think I'm on the range right now. I'm going to put my body in the position and cause the still. Look at this. Now you're just showing off.
When we're sitting down to eat, whether it's at home or a restaurant, he literally cannot hold his fork, and sometimes he can't do that. But I'll see, and I'll see him. He'll take his hands and form them as if he's shooting, and it does help steady him out. So it's those. I don't know if it's something about the way his body's moving, and then his brain thinks that okay, we're getting ready to shoot, and so it just steadies himself. But he does have those tricks that I
muscle memory.
Right.
Yeah, it's very automatic. So if you've been watching me now through this whole interview, and then I go like this, I can stop moving, but my hands are always moving.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really stop until I pick up something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a trainer that we have here for the laser shot simulator here in the house. So it's when I pick this up, it's automatic, and the same way with a coffee cup. If I grab a coffee cup, I try to just make it the gun. But I joke around, until they make coffee cups in the shape of a gun, I'm not really gonna just not spill it. So
I don't think it's Dave. I don't think it's muscle memory.
What do you think it is, Dr. Dan?
I think it's you're telling your mind, no, I've got control of this, and I'm going to do what I do. I do believe that. I'm sorry.
Maybe. I don't know the science, but you guys are going to figure it out with your study, which I absolutely love. So I do want to talk a little bit more about the tour that is going to happen once COVID gets itself out of our lives.
Election time, November.
Yeah, November, 3rd? The news cycle will change. We'll never hear about it again. That's my theory. Talk to us, two things. Like, you know, you said you walk into a range. If somebody's not familiar with the Shakey Dave video series out there, right?
You have to laugh because this actually just happened recently.
This happened last week, and I'm not going to mention the range because they're
good
afterwards. But I walk into the range, and the guy's like, "Can I help
what?
you?" And I'm all over the place. Okay, my dopamine. I needed gun therapy so bad that day. I was in bad shape, and so I walk in, and the guy's like, you know, "Can I help you?" And he had that look on his face like, you know, the Parkinson's clinic is down the road, but he really didn't want me to shoot, but he just said, I was ready to shoot, and he was not going to have it. So I just said, "Hey, can you just look up this and then judge for yourself if I'm safe or not? Just here's, you know," and so it took about 5 minutes, and then someone recognized me in the line and said, "I know you." I was like, "Oh, thank goodness." Hey, there's a lot of people out there with Parkinson's that go to the range and have the same issue, you know, and it's a disability.
Well, and it really raises. We've talked about this too, and that's why we want to kind of get this out there. Is, you know, just even with carrying a gun or owning a gun, you know, we don't want anyone to think that, you know, because Dave's mentioned to me that he's had, you know, he doesn't want anyone to think that he's unsafe, so he can't, for example, get his concealed carry permit or, you know, something like that. So it absolutely, we've talked about how certain disabilities affect a person's Second Amendment right, and that's very important to both of us.
Absolutely, and that was kind of my second question.
So wait a minute, you can't get a concealed carry permit?
Oh, yes. But in some, well, I'm going to let her speak on that. She's the expert on getting carry permits. But I would say in some states it would be
more of a
not as much of an issue in Georgia or some other states versus, you know, say California.
Well, California, you can't get one unless you're the governor or something, you know.
So, right, you have to show good cause, but it's definitely a concern whether or not if any of the laws change, how that impacts, you know, someone who might look at Dave's condition and say, "Oh, he's unsafe with a gun," because that happens to him, you know, unfortunately all the time when he walks into a gun store for the first time where they might not know him.
Hey, in restaurants, I can't even handle the check, so you know, people look at me and they assume that she's going to pay the bill and all this.
He hates that.
I'm a Southern gentleman, and this goes for every meal that we go to. I'm not even safe to hold the check. So same way with a firearm, I guess. But
he has to be his medication has to be like completely on point in order for someone not to look at us like I'm his nurse or something. But that's a whole separate topic we could talk about. The what do we call it? How people look at us sometimes when we, you know, walk into just being in a relationship where one person is disabled. It's something that we challenge us, you know, in the past year.
Before meeting Dave, Amy, you could walk into a gun shop and somebody think they've sized you up at your, like, what are you, 4'8", you know, on your tallest day, and
don't shortchange her, okay?
How tall are you?
I'm 4'11".
Oh, pardon me, my mistake.
You never ask a woman how tall she is.
I go through the same, you know, kind of judgment, and I've had that happen, honestly, you know, almost my whole adult life, because being in a field, both in the firearms industry and in the military, and not just the military but the Marine Corps, very male dominated. You know, I'll walk into a room and I've kind of learned, you know, I don't really, it's not really a factor for me anymore, and maybe I just know how to handle it. But I definitely have felt self-conscious about walking into a room and having people, "Oh, who's this little girl? You know, what's she gonna do?"
Yeah, and you look so young, but you put on your drill sergeant face and the room falls silent.
I think I've seen that face. I think I saw that face once. So Dave, I mean, just to kind of give you an example, we own AZ Firearms in Avondale here, and it is a hard thing with the guy behind the counter. You know, we have to be very careful who we sell a gun to make sure they're qualified and they're not going to do harm with the gun. So it's good to know people like you that are bringing out that, no, I'm capable. I can do this.
And thank goodness you've got your videos so you can
Right.
educate the person on the other side of the counter very quickly by saying,
Right.
look, you know.
I don't think, you know, exactly, you know, with the people behind the counter, hats off to them. You know, everybody does such a great job in this industry. They're so helpful and you know, informative, getting new people to shoot and helping us, you know, that have other problems, and you know, us old guys to, you know, to the range and everything. But yeah, it's a you know, it's a balancing act, I guess you could say, for people behind the counter. So hats off to them for everything they do.
Well, you guys are the poster couple for don't make prejudging assumptions, right? So you're the young, small female that people might think.
Oh, I wouldn't sell a gun to Amy.
Oh,
I'd sell her two. I'd sell her two, but I wouldn't sell her
I like
one.
it. You know, and then like you're saying in restaurants, everybody, their eyes go to Amy to take care of the bill and stuff because they're prejudging you. So you guys can really be trailblazers out there to be like, you know, do not, you know, prejudge, do not judge a book by its cover, you know, get to know your customer, you know, really find the questions to ask so that we're not excluding people out of ignorance and stupidity, which I know does happen. And I love that you said kind words about our industry, and I share those kind words, but I also know sometimes we miss the mark. So
Yes,
it happens.
So the other thing real quick before I let you guys go, you touched earlier on the red flag gun laws, and you know, people who do have disabilities, first of all, people with disabilities can be the most vulnerable among us. And so we don't want to automatically create more hurdles for people with disabilities to be able to defend themselves with whatever self-defense tool they want for their life. And then there are these red flag gun laws where somebody that's on a particular amount of medication, or, I mean, who knows, because in every state they have their own version of these laws. Talk to us a little bit about where you are with that particular issue, whether they're called stop laws or ERPOs or red flag gun laws.
Look, my position as far as, you know, this is saving my life. Just like if someone attacked me, okay? This disease is attacking me and I'm attacking it right back. So if you look on my Instagram page, it's hey, I'm not signing the peace treaty until I'm dead with this. And so I believe that no matter what your condition, you know, no matter what your condition is, Parkinson's or any kind of disability, you should be able to at least, you know, apply for firearms and get certified, and then not by a judge, not by you know, someone that may or may not have an agenda besides that. You know, they shouldn't even be involved in the decision if they don't carry themselves. Because, yeah, this is my life. I've got to defend it. So that's my stance, and everyone should just be able to carry no matter what. Okay, that's my feeling. Might get a little slack on some little gray area somewhere, but that's my stance. So,
well, this little document right here that not enough people read, this Constitution and Bill of Rights, look how thick that is. You can see why people don't invest the entire hour. It's an hour to read, people. So inside of this document that our founding fathers fought, bled, starved, and died to have the right to even put pen to paper, there's a thing called the Second Amendment, and there's no asterisk there. It says, shall not be infringed, period, end of story. And I think that's what you were just saying, Dave.
That's right.
You know, it could be a family member that lives with a person that could judge whether or not maybe we should put the guns away because he's unstable right now, but not a next door neighbor or a judge or a police officer or a governor. It shouldn't be. It should be somebody very close to you. And I'm
that
not
has
talking
your
about
best interests
best
at
interest,
heart, because
right.
there are people close to us that don't have our best interests at
I
heart.
understand that, but I mean, at least it shouldn't be the others.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure. All right. So talk to us again about this tour. What do you foresee? What do you hope? When do you think we might get back on track with that?
So we're actually hoping to get back on track with that later this year, and we're right now putting steps into place to make sure that we adhere to public health guidelines, because of course, you know, we safety first, and that includes in a pandemic. And so we're shifting things just to give us the time to be able to manage that piece of it. But we are planning on you know, coming out with a kind of we have to look at the dates to see when we're going to be in the Northeast, what states we're going to be in, what cities we're going to be in. We do have target cities because of people that we've already been in contact with who were going to be part of the study that we're doing. And so I don't know, you know, we're hoping for later this year, and maybe by the end of summer we're going to have that list. And I encourage anyone who knows somebody or is someone themselves that could participate in, whether they have you know, it doesn't have to be Parkinson's, any disease or debilitation that they want to be included in part of this, please contact us, and they can reach out to either one of us on our social media platforms, or info@guntherapy.org is the email, and we're going to put them in a database, contact them, and try to get set up. So we're working on that now, and we were trying to do that in the spring, or you know, kind of in the spring summer. That shifted. We were wondering if we should wait till 2021, but we don't want to wait. We have to continue moving forward, but we're just shifting things around to make sure that we can safely do so.
Yeah, and you know, as far as Parkinson's, this isn't going to wait on me, so I'm not going to wait on COVID to go away. And you know, mask or no mask, I think it, you know, it's a personal thing, and I'm just going to adhere to what I need to adhere to make it work. And it just maybe it's just another place for a logo. I mean, sponsors need less. So yeah, I'm anxious to get out there and see everybody on the road and go shooting. So hopefully soon.
I absolutely love it. And so real quick, both of you tell us how we can follow you individually, and then we will let you guys go. Dave, you go first.
Well, ParkinsonShooter on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'll see you on social media.
Yeah, and for me, that's actually my full legal name, which is Addamay, Addamay, Dillon, Dillon. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram that way. And also, if you haven't, we're still building the website, but please be on our roster on guntherapy.org, and there's a spot on there where you can input your email. And as soon as we get information going and hard information, we'll get that out to anyone who's joined the list so far. So we appreciate everyone's support.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, are you raising funds yet?
We're kind of self-funded for now. The goal is to open up to where we are, you know, raising funds, but right now I just don't have the means to be able to accept charitable donations, and all that's getting set up. And as you know, that stuff kind of takes time. So
yeah,
by the time we launch, it will be all set up.
Very good. Well, we're pre-informing. What's that?
So we're going shooting anyway. So
shooting anyway. Yes. So people can just start.
Yeah, if anyone's interested in donating, I mean, please reach out to us, and we'll figure out a way to do that. We just want to make sure that, you know, it's getting put to the right channels.
Box of ammo or whatever.
You know what? You guys are easy to get along with. I love that. So, and I see that you did the steady hand there. That's kind of your signature move, right? I love that. You guys, you're amazing. I just love you both so much. And thank you for taking the time to come on here and talk with us and share so much of your lives and your story. And we are definitely going to be following your journey and encouraging people to partake in all of the fundraising and the gathering that information in that study. I mean, that's going to change the lives of our children and our children's children, and that's what it's about. So
That's it.
I love it.
Well, keep it up, guys. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What an amazing couple.
They are. Like, individually, they're amazing people, and then as a couple, they just give me goosebumps, because they're just, honestly, what an awesome two journeys to come together, and the work that they're going to be able to do together, the example they're going to be able to set together, and the fun. We forgot to ask them on the air. We asked them before we hit the record button. Who's the best shooter? Right? Yep. We should have put him on the spot.
You know what? I'm just gonna say I think it's Dave.
Well, then I'm gonna say it's Amy. So there. Well,
you've been wrong before.
Oh, I like what you're doing there. Though.
You know what? It's a healthy thing to compete against each other, and it's awesome. But man, it's amazing, and I'm proud to know them both, and they're going to be doing good work for other people. And I really believe there's more to it than muscle memory. I have to believe that we hear stories where people that they take medication and they just get worse and worse and worse. That's
what was happening.
And then there's other people that say, you know what, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to win. Mm-hmm. And they fight, and they sometimes, a lot of times they win. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's on the right track.
I love it. All right. Well, that was a super fun show with people that we, just really do love.
Yeah, it's time to thank our guests.
Is that what time it is?
Yes.
Well, then go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Thank you.
No, you go ahead.
I like your voice better.
No, you go ahead.
No, that's all right.
All right. Thank you so much to our amazing listeners. Truly, you hopefully have heard something today that you've never heard before, and that the newness of it is what's going to cause you to go and tell your neighbor, tell your carpool mates. People still carpool during COVID? Talk about it on your Facebook page, discussion groups, the soccer fields, right? All the places that we go. Take these conversations forward. You already do, so I appreciate that. But especially something like this, that, it's a medical condition that could cause people to really, truly prejudge.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And have some serious biases.
Humans do that, don't they?
Yeah,
they prejudge a lot.
Kind of do that.
Well, let's thank our guests. We had Shakey Dave Smith, the Parkinson shooter. Mm-hmm. We thank him for being on the show. And Amy Dillon, his fiance. Mm-hmm. I want to thank her for being on the show, too. They are a great couple, and we will learn things from both of them.
We sure will. And until next time.
What?
Pray for our nation.
Pray for our world.
Do you think it needs it?
I think it does. I really do.
Pray for our leaders, our representatives, our elected officials, whatever you want to call them.
Royalty.
Yeah. We've got some out there that act like that. All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Even the ones you don't like. Especially the ones you don't like.
I'm not talking to you right now.
Giving me that dead eye stare.
You cut my mic off because you knew what I was going to say.
Be good to each other.
Again, you cut off my mic. What?
No, you're not even good at that. No. Nice try, though.
Just saying.
Be good to each other. Have a great week. and God bless. Are you going to say bye?
Bye. Cut my mic off again.
No, I didn't.
She did.
Bye.